think my session is the last one. I will try to make it short. Please help me. Okay, my name is Yoori Kim, a general counsel and patent attorney, US and Korean for ToolGen. ToolGen is a Korean company founded by a renowned scientist, Jin-Soo Kim, in gene editing. Okay, let me start with the Nobel Prize story. As you all know, these two star scientists published a science paper in 2012, which demystified how CRISPR-Cas9 bacterial immune system works in vitro. And after 8 years from the publication, the Nobel Prize came in, which is after the CRISPR-Cas9 was confirmed as a gene editing tool in eukaryotes. So now, let me talk about patent. You must hear a big fight on CRISPR-Cas9 system in the US. And some of you may wonder, why? Do the Nobel winners take it all? No. Here, the winner does not take it all. There are many other parties. And one of them, the Broad Institute, managed to secure the CRISPR-Cas9 patent using fast-track patent examination procedure, earlier than the Nobel Prize group, aka CBC. Obviously, the CBC was not happy with this, right? So they urged the US Patent Office to declare an interference against Broad. The interference is a special patent examination procedure when designed for a situation in which multiple parties compete for patent on the same invention. So at this point, we encounter an interesting question. So when multiple parties pursue patent on the same invention, who would win? And there is two different answers, two different approaches. First to file, and the other one is first to invent. Now, every country on the globe adopts the first to file system. So basically, the first to file system means we don't care who came up with this invention first. Just raise your hand first, then you will get the patent. This is easy and most convenient for the government, right? But under the first invent system, the one who really invent first would get the patent. How does that sound? It sounds more fair and just, right? But there are pros and cons always. So it's not easy to figure out who is the first, right? So the patent law would become more complicated. And then also patent right becomes unstable, because anytime the true inventor can come up and destroy everything established, right? But up until about 10 years ago, the US is the only country that adopted first to invent system. And all the CRISPR-Cas9 patents applications were filed when the US was under the umbrella of the first to invent system. So if you take a look at this, so even if A filed later than B, because A invent first, so A will get the patent under the first to invent system. So the interference is a legacy of the first to invent system, because all the CRISPR patents were filed, right, before the US switched to the first to file system. So this is an excerpt from the decision of the first interference. Let me read some sentences here. So when a colleague contacted Dr. Daltner to inform her of Broad's success, he stated, "I hope you are sitting down. CRISPR is turning out to be absolutely spectacular in George Church's hands." The conclusion was, applying CRISPR-Cas9 prokaryotic system in eukaryotes was unpredictable. So the US Patent Office and the Court of Appeals concluded that the CRISPR-Cas9 system invention of the CVC is different from the CRISPR-Cas9 used in eukaryotes. So there's no interference in fact, right? They are not the same invention. They are independent and separate inventions, right? So obviously, again, CVC was not happy about this. They failed, right, to take the Cas9 used in eukaryotes patent from the Broad. But the CVC did not give up. Less than 1 year after the decision made, they came again. So now they initiated the second interference against Broad with, now this time, the CRISPR-Cas9 used in eukaryotes invention. But again, the US Patent Office decided last year, February, that Broad was earlier than the CVC. So now the CVC appeal. The appeal is ongoing. So, is there only CVC over Broad for the CRISPR-Cas used in eukaryotes? Absolutely not. No, ToolGen is here. So ToolGen is a participant of this patent fight. So here, between CVC and Broad, there was second interference is on appeal, and ToolGen has 2 interferences against both of them. But ToolGen's interferences started later. I mean, 1.5 years after their second interferences. And ToolGen is senior, and both are junior in the 2 interferences. Here, see? For the invention, CRISPR-Cas9 used in eukaryote invention, ToolGen is the earliest filer. So that's why ToolGen is the senior, and Broad and CVC, they are juniors. And what does the senior party mean? What's the advantage? Actually, at the beginning, the US Patent Office declared that ToolGen is the senior. And then after almost 2 years of fighting, they affirmed still ToolGen is senior. During the 2 years of fighting, both parties, both juniors, ruthlessly tried to strike ToolGen's senior party entitlement. they failed, and ToolGen successfully defended its senior party position. So, and what's the disadvantage of junior party? A junior party must go first, submitting their story and its argument and evidence without knowing what senior party has. Just like shooting into the air, not at the target. And senior party can see what they have, and then senior party later can submit their own story and evidence accordingly. And statistics say senior party's winning rate is about 75%. That's one of the reasons for the US to switch first to file system. It is natural, right? Earlier the invention, the earlier the patent filing, right? And I said inference is the legacy of the first to invent system. So how to win the battle? You would win if you can prove either one or two. If you can prove that you made a working example of your invention earlier, then you would win. Or there is one second chance. Even if you made your invention later, if you conceived your invention earlier and worked hard until when you successfully made your invention, then you would win. I'd like to mention just one thing for our dear scientists. The conception is not an imagination, okay? Conception is a definite and permanent idea of a complete and operative invention. So, just imagining a flying car doesn't make us the inventor. And during the second interference, Series and Broad, both parties put tons of evidence, more than 2,000 pieces of evidence with their story and arguments. Both sides. Here is the evidence for our conception. Here is evidence for RPP. That means, reduction to practice means making a working example, right? And then, as I said, Broad won, and CBC appealed. So now the two interferences of ToolGen are also suspended until the appeal is concluded. So if you hear somebody says that, okay, I know that the situation that the patent would go to CBC or Broad, it cannot be trustworthy. Here's why. Because nobody knows what ToolGen has. Nobody knows ToolGen's story and argument. On the other hand, Series and Broad evidence and stories are out there in the public domain because they went through their interference, right? They have to put what they have. So the only one person in the world who saw all the three parties' stories and evidence is ToolGen, right? So I know what ToolGen has, and I know what they have. And then for 2 years, I have been scrutinizing their stories and evidence. So please trust me. I am confident that at the end of the day, ToolGen could be the winner. We'll see. Okay, let me talk about ToolGen's plant expertise. So We opened Seed Research Center in October 2018, and now it's expanding into a seed R&D department with the marketing part during the year. And actually, May 2023, actually next month, we are the department would go into the Osong R&D Center. Osong is a small city, 150 kilometers south of Korea. Oh, south of Seoul, sorry. So this is new R&D Center for plants of ToolGen. So just let me highlight just one achievement by ToolGen's scientists as an example of ToolGen's plant expertise. The CRISPR-Cas9 RNP transfection came out in 2015, and ToolGen scientists were the first who were successfully doing this. And one of the authors, the Sunil Kwan, is here, so you can ask many questions to him in ToolGen's booth. And Nature reported this Cas9 RNP transfection code. I think this is a milestone work for plant science, because back then, even nowadays, DNA transfection is prevalent. Of course, much earlier than the paper publication, we filed a patent application. And I'm not a scientist, but let me summarize what ToolGen is doing. So now ToolGen is doing transfection of RNP to protoplast. And we're almost there, okay. And we are also doing the conventional method, agrobacterium-mediated gene transformation. And interesting thing is, we are working on transfection of RNP to microspore, right? So, ToolGen's business model, of course, Cas9 foundational patent licensing worldwide, and of course, Cas9 gene edited seed and crop development and licensing. And we are doing also a customer service for plant. So my presentation covers only a part of ToolGen's plant expertise. Please come to ToolGen's booth and find out the specifics and the secrets. Thank you.